go in there. But by the way, another way of doing this, I think I had mentioned it before, was doing it via video, so videotaping the classroom or an aspect of teaching and then doing an analysis. So we saw some videos, for example, of circle time, where teachers had been trained, had been taught particular strategies to use to include Judaic content. And at random, we chose a circle time to see whether they were applying them. So,
Leora.
Questions?
Yeah, Leora, it's Michelle. I was wondering, so when you go in to observe these teachers, what do you tell them, or what do their directors tell them? Because for us, I think that's part of the challenge of observation is, does the teacher act like they usually act? What are they told is the reason for the observation? And, how do you sell this idea to directors who feel that it's intrusive?
So there were two things. That was a double-barrel question, and both parts are really important. Okay, so in this case, we could be totally transparent. This was not an evaluation of the teachers or of the schools. This was an evaluation of the program. And so, and because all along this had been presented as a partnership, that we really wanted this to succeed, and the purpose of the evaluation was to understand where the program was achieving its goals and where it wasn't a particularly hard sell to have these observations take place. The other key was that I made sure to spend some time prior to the observation kind of demystifying what I was going to be looking for. I did let them know what I was going to be looking for in advance, but they knew that they would not know when we were coming into the room. So it could be almost at any time, and that would give a good sense of whether they applied it or whether they didn't, and that I was going to be as inobtrusive as possible, and they saw that. I would come into the classroom, and quite honestly, children, everybody, at first they pay attention to an observer and they act up for them, and then as they go along and you sit there quietly, you become part of the wallpaper, and they don't pay any attention whatsoever. In an early childhood classroom, this was very easy. I sat behind a bookcase, and after the kids first came over and spoke to me and offered me cupcakes and tried to engage me in conversation, after a while, because of the way that I related to them, they just went back to doing what they were doing, and I just sat there, and literally nobody paid attention to me, and the teachers didn't even know that I was there. Same thing with a video camera. At first, people are very uptight about it, and then people tend to forget that it's there. Obviously, anxiety level is higher for some than for others, but in this case, if the goal is evaluating the program, and if you are honor-bound, and if you've developed trust to say, this won't be used to evaluate you, and it won't be, and by the way, the principals didn't have access to my data sheets. All they saw was the final summary, and the summary was a comparison, as I said, of the Bogrot and the Chadashot, and it wasn't by school. That was fine. The other question that you asked was, I forgot. I got so excited about this one.
I don't know. I think you summed it up well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But they need to be partners in it, and to understand what the purpose is. And you have to have somebody really good who has a lot of experience thinking about how to do it and going in.
And being wallpaper.
And being wallpaper. Right. Yeah, don't wear, your brightest red sweater for this activity. Okay. So, now flipping back to a lighter touch kind of evaluative tool, which is evaluative go-rounds. So, it also can be used for short-term. It's at the end of a program. And it's basically sentence completions. The thing I really like about this tool is that it's good pedagogy, too. Because what it does is it leads the participants, it gives them an opportunity to synthesize what they heard, what they learned, what they're feeling about it, which is kind of the wrap-up of what you want to do anyway, and very often we don't get to. So, the way I like to do it very often is to pass out index cards and have people answer just a couple of questions. So here's some possible evaluative go-rounds that you might want to use. Again, this is from Pathways. So if you're interested in understanding outputs, their satisfactions, here's some triggers. If you're interested in their feelings or attitudes, if you want to understand what they're going to do or what they intend to do, and we know there's a big gap between stated intentions and what they actually will do, but you have to have some kind of intention before you do anything. So some intended changes that come out of this in terms of what they hope to, how they hope to follow up. I love to do something like this around learnings. So 2 things I learned. Write them down. Because what it does for me, I like doing it for myself, it helps me solidify what I learned, but it also gives an opportunity for, if you collect these anonymously, you can understand whether what you thought you delivered was what the participants really got out of it. And finally, the valuing piece. The other thing that you can do is use these same kind of stems on a checklist or as a rating scale in a questionnaire. Okay, another quickie. I love this and can take no credit for it. It's from Wendy Rosoff, who did this as part of a it was part of the evaluation of a professional development program for youth educators in the San Francisco area. And it's trademarked, so you can't really lift it out, but it gives you an idea of a number of things that you could do. If any of you participated in CTI that Jesna did a number of years back, the Consultants Training Institute, we did some things with using little cartoons, and the same kind of bubbles related to this was held in Paradise, Texas, so we used a cowboy motif. But if you're worried about, you give out those feedback forms at the end of the session and people escape and won't fill them out for you, or they don't spend enough time filling them out, this is an incentive. It's so cute that they actually do it, and a lot of times they do it more thoughtfully. If you'll note, the immediate feedback that they were looking for here reflected BASC, behaviors, attitude, skills, and knowledge.